Have you ever noticed that you haven't done anything wrong, yet people always take half a step back from you? They say you are very polite, very composed, very mindful of boundaries. But they also seem to have never truly gotten close to you. You haven't rejected them. You always respond cooperatively, nod and smile, say it's okay, yet there is a sense of distance floating in the air. You don't make a fuss or talk too much, and you can chat with anyone for a bit, but no one dares to delve deeper with you. Some say your presence is too strong. Some say you're too rational. Some say you're hard to approach. But you have never shown any aggression. You just stay calm, not wanting to make anyone uncomfortable. Yet somehow, people always become tense around you. Their jokes pause in your presence. Their topics become cautious after you join. You simply voice a differing opinion softly, and the other person quickly backtracks, saying, "Never mind, you're right." You stay silently calm for a few seconds, and they rush to explain, as if they have done something wrong. You don't realize that your every word and action is magnified, while you just want to quietly be yourself. You don't intend to intimidate anyone or control them. You are simply tired of expending so much energy to cater to everyone's emotions. You thought this was maturity, stability, independence, but sometimes it feels like an invisible shell. Others think you are cool, but you are just too afraid to relax after so long. Others think you don't care, but you are just terrified that if you let go, you will fall apart. You can hardly remember the last time you expressed your emotions without reservation. You are considerate in your actions, cautious in your speech, never meddling or proactively approaching anyone. You don't create spotlight in a crowd or become the center of any group, yet you are always the most noticed one. Not because you are flamboyant, but because you are too quiet, like a boundary line that keeps everyone out. You are accustomed to this, like wearing silent armor that others can't see, but you don every day. You are not indifferent. You are exhausted. You are not distant. You are not aloof. You just lock too many emotions inside your heart, hiding them well. If you feel familiar with these descriptions, there is no need to panic. This is not your fault or your problem. It is just a way, a method you use to navigate the world safely. Your caution does not stem from innate distrust of people, but from realizing long ago that too much expression makes you vulnerable. You don't avoid closeness. You know that getting close risks rejection, misunderstanding, or even exploitation. You understand dependence, but you know that depending on someone means bearing disappointment. You were not born strong. You simply learned early that if you are not strong, no one will carry the load for you. This calm and control is not the result of superiority, but a self-regulation mechanism formed after prolonged hypervigilation. You have learned to assess the other person's emotions, tone, and reactions in the first instant, then adjust your expression accordingly. You almost never let a conversation enter uncontrollable territory, because you know derailment triggers anxiety. You always soothe others first, then check your own emotions later. You are unaccustomed to being cared for, because you rarely experience unconditional acceptance. You choose to handle it yourself, not because you love solitude, but because it feels less dangerous. This is a highly self-regulated system, whose essence is not coldness, but ongoing defense. You pull logic to the forefront to prevent emotions from overwhelming you. Your way of entering relationships is through control, not openness. In every conversation, your mind runs 3 programs simultaneously. How to say it without being misunderstood. How to avoid conflict. How to maintain stability. You thought this was maturity, but it is actually a survival strategy. You are not unemotional. Your emotions are compressed at the front end. You are not truly unfluctuating. Your fluctuations have never been allowed to show. This is a typical avoidant attachment pattern. No expectations, no overinvestment, no troublemaking, no dependence on anyone. This mechanism protects you, but also isolates you. You know too well what loss of control means, so you spend your life avoiding it. You are so used to giving yourself orders that you cannot truly relax and just be a feeling person. Your personality has long been organized into a system with no seams for disassembly. This is not your issue. It is the safest survival method you found in limited experiences. You learn to anticipate others' instability and fill the gaps with your own stability. You learn to be reliable, low maintenance, capable in any situation, then forgot you can also be vulnerable. The reason you make people feel oppressed is not because you are truly strong, but because you decided too early to never be weak again. You have protected yourself for so long that even you cannot distinguish what is the real you and what is the wall you built. You do not intentionally keep people at arm's length. You have simply forgotten how to get close. You are not indifferent to what others think. You gave up on being understood too early. You once wanted to get close to others, but every attempt came at a greater cost. Thus, you learn to leave early, control early, reject early, tuck away all your softness early. You are not emotionless. You just learn to compress, freeze, and seal them. This is a survival method, not a sign of failure. It protected you through the hardest times and deserves gratitude. Defense is never a flaw. It was simply your instinctual choice back then to survive. Do you remember that time in class when you mustered courage to speak? Only for the whole class to laugh, and the teacher casually said, "Raise your hand next time." You lowered your head, unsure what went wrong, but you decided then to never make yourself stand out again. Do you remember running to your parents in tears to complain, only for them to frown and say, "Don't be so sensitive, or you're always so emotional"? You learn to hide emotions in your breath, swallowing tears with "it's okay." Do you remember opening up to a friend, only for them to brush it off, call you dramatic or oversensitive, then distance themselves behind your back? You realize that exposed emotions become leverage. Do you remember trying to rely on someone, only for them to turn off their phone when you needed a response most, later saying, "I was busy"? From then on, you uttered uttered, "I need you" again. Do you remember when someone said, "You're too much trouble"? Not maliciously, but from that moment, you learn to reduce your presence. So you learn to hide bit by bit. Hide fatigue, irritation, resistance, even preferences. You became the one who sighs in relief at cancellations, but says, "What a shame." You blame no one. You know it is not their fault. But you realize these small accumulations shaped who you are today. You even habituated to letting others decide giving up for you. You only release that long-held breath when cancelled. These experiences did not end then. They were not forgotten, but internalized into habits, reactions, beliefs. You began believing only cooperation avoids trouble. You told yourself, "I cannot spoil things, refuse, or be unsociable." No one said it explicitly, but you learned from countless glances, tones, silences. You internalized your own rules. If I yield, people will like me more. If I keep the mood, no one feels awkward. If I stay silent, I won't err. You built a stable external life with these, though it never truly belonged to you. You became the whatever person. So used to considering others, you forget when you were last considered. In group chats, you are last to say, "Let's stick to the plan." You have opinions, but default harmony over self-expression. You even preempt others' reactions and adjust to avoid conflict. You became adaptable to all, yet increasingly misfitted to yourself. You grow wearier, but cannot pinpoint why. Relationships seem fine, even good on the surface. But many rest on your constant concessions. You habitually zone out alone after gatherings, remove the mask on the way home, berate yourself post-agreement for not saying no. You too rarely ask, "Do I want to go?" You even fear the question, knowing the true answer might isolate you. You fear rejecting and being rejected. You treat participation as duty, compliance as skill, fatigue as growth's cost. You consume yourself with each yes. You know the costs. You feel increasingly weary, empty. You more easily want silence, no interaction, no forcing. Even simple outings feel like tasks. Not from laziness, but knowing outings require another performance. You fear not people, but practicing expressions in the mirror. You are gentle, yet start hating gentle. It often stems not from willingness, but instinctive yielding. You question if those calling you stable or nice truly know you, or just like you're low maintenance. You grow quieter, better at managing scenes, less expressive of true feelings. But lonelier too. You see plan cancelled as a gift, the only time no decision is needed. No weighing, calculating, judging. You can just sigh unmasked, even for seconds, like long-lost belonging. You understand this fatigue. It's not from wrongdoing, but neglecting your true self too long. You trade compromise for connection, unaware the cost is growing isolation. You appear flawless, but know the accommodating self teeters on collapse. You never meant to avoid anyone. You just were not allowed to pause for too long. No one told you you can choose not to go, not to respond, to keep yourself. Thoughts like, "I'm not suited for crowds," or "Am I too weird?" are not your flaws. They signaled you too rarely stood by yourself. You never lacked ability, only permission. Permission to say no. Space for "I don't want," acceptance without performance. You begin to get it. Over-accommodating is not pleasing, but surviving. Over-considerate is not from unimportance, but fear of being a burden. But now you can finally say a long overdue phrase. Back then, I just wanted protection. Not cowardice, but wisdom. Not weakness, but survival. You did nothing wrong. You used all you had to live as gently as possible. Do not blame the small you who always complied. She just was not allowed, "I don't want." He just tried to stay connected, not excluded. You need not punish these responses. Just see them and whisper, "I understand." You can finally understand yourself, not as a project to fix, but a being allowed to relax. You can finally release the self who self-blames, fears silence, strains to stabilize emotions. You begin learning gentle reconnection with yourself. Not criticism or correction, but allowance. Allow occasional unread messages, cancelled plans, silence from exhaustion. You need not say yes to every request, or "I'm excited" to every invite. You can pause simply because you need to. You begin seeing release as not a loss of control, but trust. Trust in your choices. You begin seeing refusal as not rupture, but boundary. Boundaries protect you, not push others away. You finally know you were never wrong. You always strive to live. That effort just went unacknowledged. Now, acknowledge it yourself. You deserve ease. You deserve breath. You deserve not trading your whole self for others' sociable. You can finally loosen that over tightrope, even slightly. You can finally say, "I'm not going." No reason, no guilt. Just because I don't want to. You begin practicing release. Not of others, but the people-pleasing self. You try slower replies in conversations. Try asking upon invites, "Do I want to go?" Try saying, "I'm a bit tired today," even softly. You begin experiencing feared consequences do not materialize. No one leaves forever over your refusal or negates you entirely. You just retract a little. Others remain. You begin seeing the world more tolerant than imagined. You need not be the always on-time person. You need not be forever online. You can occasionally say, "I don't feel like talking today." You can occasionally be silent, hesitant, withdrawn. You can even explain nothing. You have the right to reclaim your rhythm. Not all blanks must be filled. Not all ties maintained. Some silences let you hear your voice. Some cancellations let you say, "I don't want." You allow yourself fatigue, mess, untimeliness. In cancelled plans, you reclaim your true space. No interruptions, tasks, roles. Just you. You begin loving days outside plans. You lie in bed, watching light shift across the window. You enter the kitchen for a bowl of soup just for you. No rush, no hurry, no responsibility to anyone. You begin feeling long-lost freedom. Not travels, but inner loosening. You finally need prove nothing, accommodate no one. You can just exist. You are no longer the emotion bearer or relationship glue. You are not anyone's firefighter or mood fixer. You are just you, able to breathe on your own. A complete, undisturbed self without performance. You finally understand true belonging comes not from others' approval, but allowing yourself to stay put. You finally understand true intimacy is not "I'm always here," but "I'm truly here when I am." You finally understand healing is not changing to fit, but returning to a state without defense. You finally understand those unsaid "I'm tired" should have been heard long ago. You can finally tell yourself, from now on, I will hear them. Hear body's tension, heart's refusal, the long ignored you. You begin believing dropping unfit connections is not loss. It means approaching your true self. You begin understanding cancelled plans are sometimes not missing out, but coming home. Not to a place, but to the self you never truly left. You begin understanding healing is not becoming someone new. It is slowly remembering the you who existed without explanation and was still allowed.